Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel, and thank you so much for joining me in today's video. So today we are actually going to be covering some of the best inserts that I think would be the most suitable for students. So if you are going back to school this September and you have sort of that minimalist planner set up and you're sort of sitting there unsure what are some of the best inserts that can help you, then just stay tuned because then this video is going to be for you. So without further ado, why don't we just dive right in? So today we're actually going to be covering mainly just the inserts of what I think you should be putting into your planner. And in a separate video, you will see me covering what are some of the accessories or like extra things that you can get that will actually help you stay on top of your tasks and help you remain more productive. And of course, if we have not met, then welcome to the channel. My name is Meshi, and here on this channel we chat about minimalist planning and minimalist tips at least once a week. So if that's your jam, then consider subscribing because we kind of take a different take on things here. We kind of pull in a little bit more mindfulness practices, a little bit more minimalism, so that everything becomes a little bit more intentional. So what are like the most essential things, inserts that you would end up using in September? Because I know that especially when it comes to inserts, it can be super overwhelming whether you should get dated or undated. So I'll just show you some of my recommendations. So first I would like to cover a weekly layout. So here's why I absolutely love this. So on one side, you have top 3 priorities, then you have a huge note section, and then in the bottom you have the date, so you have like the full monthly calendar. So just this half a page alone is going to make your life so much easier, because if you're finding and you're sitting down on a Sunday and you're trying to kind of look at the week ahead, having a dated insert is life, because then you can flip onto the right pages where you're going to, because you're going to forget. Like a lot of the times, I don't know about you guys, but when I was a student, I would forget when certain projects were due or when the deadline was. So it's nice when you can kind of jot down the different subjects, but then it's also really nice when you can kind of flip to the page when that project or that assignment or that quiz or whatever is coming up is going to be due, and then you can come back at least a couple of days prior to that and you can actually notate with like by what point you want certain projects to be completed. So that's one of the ways that I really love this layout. The other thing to notice here is that it gives you a section to actually write down your schedule. So this may or may not be enough space for you. I personally think it is more than enough space for me personally, but I mean, you would kind of have to play around with this. You can also have like a little note section, then your to-do list, and then again, your top 3 priorities. So I kind of love this because of that, because it gives you enough space so that you can kind of prep for the week. You can add your reminders, you can section them off if you wanted to. But the reason why I love this so much is because with being dated, you can actually flip to the correct date, and then you can notate exactly what's going to be coming up and when you're going to have to kind of worry about that. So you can kind of write in anything that's coming up for school, for your fitness routine, for, you know, any events that are going on around school, and any social activities or anything like that. Or like if you're working part-time, then you can also kind of notate that. I find that it's more than enough space to kind of handle all of that. So if you're just kind of wondering, I would recommend this weekly layout. And I believe that in 2022 they are this is from Cloth and Paper, they are still rolling this out, that there's going to be like a slight adjustment to this dated layout that they're still going to have available. So if you're finding that like all you need is half a page, this is fantastic. Moving on, the next thing that I wanted to mention that I think is fantastic when it comes to pre-planning for the month and really just getting you prepped for school is actually the half-page monthly reminders. So this particular insert, and let me show you guys a close-up. So this came for me in one of the subscription boxes that I got from Cloth and Paper. Here's why I love it. So again, you have like a monthly view of the whole month. Then you have your reminders, and then you have a section for priorities. And then if you turn it over, you have this full page of note section. And I mean, a lot of the times what I would end up using this for actually is for business, but I mean, there's no stopping you of what you can kind of notate here. And again, you might find that you might not want to skip ahead a few months if there are certain assignments that are due. You might just want to notate it like right for the month of September so that you can actually go back to it and notate it right in the appropriate month. The other thing to note as well is what is the priority? So with priorities, you can kind of break them down per category of what you're focusing on, whether that's in academic life or it's with your wellness routine. Perhaps you picked up an awesome, workout routine over the summer and you want to kind of continue that on. So this would be a way that you can kind of remind yourself before the month arises, before the month comes, of what is it that you really wanted to continue to focus on. It doesn't make your planner super bulky. It's just a really lovely way to kind of kickstart your month. So moving on. When it comes to making you a little bit more effective, and now this is not so much on productivity, but it's absolutely it's more about just keeping your mental health really strong, especially during COVID. I know that for many students, it has really affected them in their mental health. So I love this morning mindset half-page vellum dashboard insert. So here's why I love it. It actually makes you kind of slow down and stop and kind of think about each of the answers. And sometimes I don't end up answering all of them, but at the same time, it kind of provokes me. It probes you to kind of go a little bit deeper than just using your planner in a really robotic way, right? Where it makes you kind of think a little bit deeper. And honestly, like anything, especially when things get really busy, it's really great to find inserts that kind of allows you to not only stay a little bit deeply connected to your mental health game, but also like it's something that can kind of keep all of your stuff together, right? So here are the questions. So what is the big picture for today? So really, like, what are you working on? Who am I looking forward to seeing or talking to? And what projects will I work on today that I will be proud to be a part of? And what healthy choices can I make for my body today? And what value will I add to my colleagues or team today? And what will I do if I'm faced with a problem today? So the reason why I love this so much is because in the morning, right from the get-go, it preps you for not only for obstacles, it preps you it's almost like it lays down the foundation for you to make better choices in general, but then also to foresee that there's probably going to be obstacles that are coming your way, as it does for all of us in each day. And then what are you actually looking forward to? What is exciting you? Like, what is something that you're really looking forward to doing? So for that reason, I love it because I think that it can absolutely help students to just stay a little bit more deeply connected and not get wrapped up in all of the doing and doing it again in a more robotic way. Now let's move on to the next insert, which I think is absolutely essential if you're a student. So the next thing that I wanted to mention that I think is absolutely essential is a fantastic dated monthly overview. Now here's why I like it. So we're just gonna go and take a look at September. Again, this one is from Cloth and Paper. I ended up buying the full year for this insert, and I'm like no regrets about as to like why. Okay, so let's talk about why I think these dated monthly inserts are fantastic. Again, when it comes to students and student life and how you would end up using them. First off, in the overview page, you have like this massive space for any of your goals. Now you can interchange this with focus of the month or like whatever you want it to. It just says goals for now. It gives you a section for important dates. So again, if you only wanted to buy like one of the inserts, so let's say you didn't want to buy the dated weekly, but you end up getting the monthly, then it also gives you that space for you to jot down any of your upcoming like midterms and finals and any assignments or just important dates that you really wanted to keep track of. And it gives you also a section for bills. So perhaps this is the first time, maybe it's your first year in university where this is the first time that you're living on your own. This is a fantastic way for you to actually remember what it is that you need to pay and when. And then on the side, it gives you a full to-do list of just anything small that you kind of wanted to, that you have to kind of take care of for the month, in this case, for the month of October. And then on the actual overview, I find that, so this is an A5 size, and I find that it's big enough where, like, if you look in the squares, it's big enough that you can write in it, but you don't have to write like a full novel, but it's big enough space where you can write in there, but it's also small enough that it's like visually appealing. You know what I mean? And then you also have 2 of the monthly, like, so you have up to 2 months of layout that you can kind of see, okay, this is what's coming up, and this is, like, let's say you wanted to kind of jot down when you're getting paid or whatever, this would be a fantastic way of doing that. So this was another insert that I think is absolutely essential when it comes to just pre-planning your year, pre-planning your semesters. And then the last insert that I think is super helpful is actually something that they just started using recently from Cloth and Paper. Right now, my planner is really heavy on cloth and paper inserts, only because I haven't really printed out any of the other inserts that I own, but I'll just show you. And perhaps even if you don't want to get it from Cloth and Paper, you can get it from, you know, any of the other stores that are more, they have like a printable version. Okay, so let's talk about this. So this is the new vertical layout dated weekly insert. So there's also a huge reason why I love this, and I think how you can completely make this insert work. So first of all, you have a section where it's completely blank, so you can write whatever you want there, but then there's also a graph paper on the other side. So there's a graph grid. So it gives you enough space where you can kind of write down any of the, like if you wanted to kind of section this out, you can perhaps do personal and then schoolwork or what have you. And then on the other side, you have a section for priorities, for memo, and what's happening for next week. And I think that, again, it allows you to kind of plan ahead of what you wanted to focus on for the next week, which I think is super important. So me personally, I end up using this actually for content planning and for social media, but it's so fantastic to have this one section down here for next week, and any memos or any insights that kind of come up during the week, I end up using the memo section for that. And I also use the highlighter in the monthly calendar layout, just because then that way I know which week we're focusing on. So it's a different layout, but you can totally make it work. So it really depends. It's really going to depend on your own personal planning style of how much detail you wanted to kind of keep in your planner, or if you wanted to keep it as super minimal as possible, then I find that at least up to 3 of these small dot stickers totally fit there, and it's no issue whatsoever. So I'll just show you guys. So these are just like a normal, like medium-sized transparent stickies, dots, and you can easily, like, you don't feel like you're really hurting for space. I'll show you guys a close-up in a second. So I find space-wise, it's fantastic. So this is all I wanted to share with you guys. I hope that you have found this helpful and useful. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up, and you can also subscribe to the channel if you have not yet already. I would actually love to hear from you guys, and let me know if you own any of the inserts that I mentioned in this video, and what is your favorite minimalist planner insert, whether it's from Cloth and Paper or from another provider. I would love to hear from you guys. That's all I have for you guys. I hope that you have enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to see you guys in my next video. Bye!